I'll just start straight up. What is your beef with YouTube?
A little history. I started the first really privately owned performing rights organization a couple of years ago called Global Music Rights. And as I got into it, first, there's a couple issues. It's not just that they don't pay and pay enough. It's also the control factor. If you could imagine calling up Jeff Bewkes and saying, Game of Thrones premieres on HBO tonight, but you also legally have to put that up on YouTube for everybody to watch for free also. What would that do to the subscription rates of HBO? And that's what we're forced with because of a thing called that President Clinton signed. It was never intended to do this, but back in the early days when the internet service providers needed what they called safe harbor protection. So they're hiding behind an old law.
The DMCA.
The DMCA.
Right.
They're hiding behind, one, they're not paying anything close to what Spotify or Apple or their competitors will pay. And two, they're hiding, behind this safe harbor law.
Well, you would too if it was good for your business, in fairness.
Well, I think, isn't Google the place that they have this little saying about do no evil, or is that the company? I'm not sure. Does anybody know? Yeah. They have what is their slogan? I don't even. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
This is evil. It's really evil. And as I got into it, it wasn't just about my business at Global Music Rights, but it really bothered me just, as a guy that's made his entire livelihood off of other people's talents. And we're at a time, especially in music, when there's such a lack of respect for intellectual property, and they're the worst offender of it. They're not the only ones hiding behind safe harbor. And I have little hope that, although there's been a lot of headway in Europe, but I have little hope here in America that we're going to change that. But look, I've represented talent my entire life, and it was just wrong. And what I found out when I went out there and really, really dug into it was everybody's done a really good job of keeping the record companies and the artists and the publishers all fighting among themselves. But this was an issue that has affected the whole industry. I can't, there's hundreds of thousands of jobs lost through the music industry at a time when music's never been more popular. It's less monetized. And every other time when there was a technology change, there was a big boom in the business for artists, for people that own record companies, publishing. And this time it's drastically altered. The business side of what goes on.
Well, just put a pause on that. So your streaming music is actually doing much better from a revenue perspective for the music industry this year than it has in any other year since streaming began. Yeah,
the paid streaming is finally coming around.
Right.
Thanks to Spotify, thanks to Apple, thanks to other entrants that have really that are at it, and the hope for the recovery of the business is that paid streaming really takes hold.